Welcome to The Financial Quarterback with your host, Jim Lineweaver.
I'm David Moss, guest hosting The Financial Quarterback.
And I'm Jim Lineweaver, your financial quarterback since 1993.
And today we're going to talk about retirement. A lot of risks out there, four in particular. What's the first one, Jim?
First one is the fear of outliving your money. So if 65-year-old male today who's expected to live to about age 84, and females are going to even live longer. And that's according to the Social Security Administration. So that's 16 years longer than it was just in 1980. And that means you really have to make sure that you're not going to outlive your money, because if somebody wants to spend about $50,000 a year out of their portfolio and they're using a 5% consumption rate, that's $1 million that they have to set aside for their retirement just to keep up with their expenses.
So how do you protect yourself? How do you know you've saved enough money?
Well, you really have to make sure you have a flexible plan. I meet with a certified financial planner, and you got to adapt to these ever-changing markets and interest rates that are going on out there, and healthcare costs, which are extremely important.
Healthcare, boy, you're talking about something big there. That keeps on growing in cost, doesn't it?
It really does. Fidelity does a study every year. They estimate on average, a couple is going to spend $295,000 over their lifetime in retirement just on healthcare alone. So you really need a good strategic plan for this to make sure you can combat these healthcare costs.
And everything's getting more expensive now, so we have to deal with inflation.
We do. Inflation right now is relatively low. Matter of fact, according to bankrate.com, it's only running about 2%, when the average is traditionally 3.2% per year, which we're expecting maybe to rise in the next couple of years. But that means, if you had $1 million in your portfolio just over the next 10 years, even if we used a 2% inflation, that's going to rob about $200,000 out of that portfolio. And over a 20-year period of time, that million would almost shrink in half, or over $400,000 just due to inflation alone.
So we need some strategies to combat this.
We really do. You can look at Treasury inflation protected securities to try to combat this. You can also look at things that'll provide good income, and maybe with companies that pay dividends, but they're increasing their dividends each year to also try to help combat.
And talk about investing in the market, that could be tricky.
It really can. For people, there's a risk out there called sequence of return. And that means as soon as you retire, if the market drops and you have to take your retirement income out of that, you're going to cannibalize your portfolio.
So how do you avoid that?
Well, you really have to have a well-diversified and properly structured portfolio for your individual situation. We talked about dividends. You also might want to look at bond ladders and really making sure that your portfolio is dynamic in these ever-changing worlds to combat this inflation and also market risk. So it's not easy. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, but you should see a professional when it comes to your retirement portfolio.
So it's very important to prepare for all these risks, and Jim Lineweaver and his team can help you with that. No obligation. They will help you, give you a second look, and get you on the right track. I want to thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you, Dave.
And now, Chris Wallace.